Audiobook 11th class NCRT reading chapter number 7 for CBSE and NEET student also structural organization in animals. In the preceding chapters you come across a large variety of organisms both unicellular and multicellular of the animal kingdom. In unicellular organisms, all functions like digestion, respiration, and reproduction are performed by a single cell. In the complex body of multicellular animals, the same basic functions are carried out by different group of cells in a well-organized manner. The body of a simple organism like Hydra is made up of different type of cells and the number of cells in each type can be in thousand. The human body is composed of billions of cells to perform various functions. How do these cells in the body work together? As you have already learnt in your earlier classes, in multicellular animals, a group of similar cells along with intercellular substances perform a specific function. Such an organization is called as a tissue. You may be surprised to know that all the complex animals consist of only 4 basic type of tissue. These tissues are organized in a specific proportions and pattern to form an organ like stomach, lung, heart and kidney. When two or more organs perform a common function by their physical or of chemical interactions, they together form organ system. For example, digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Cells, tissue, organ and organ system split up the work in a way that exhibit division of labor and contribute to the survival of the body as a whole. Organ and organ system. The basic tissues, as you have learnt in the earlier classes, organize to form organs which in turn associate to form organ system in a multicellular organisms. Such an organization is essential for more efficient and better coordinated activities of millions of cells constituting an organism. Each organ in our body is made up of one or more type of tissues. For example, our heart consists of all the 4 type of tissue, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. We also notice after some careful study that the complexity in organ and the organ system displays a certain discernible trend. This discernible trend is called evolutionary trend. You will study the details in class 12th. In this chapter, you are being introduced to morphology and anatomy of a frog. Morphology refers to study of form or externally visible features. In the case of plants or microbes, the term morphology precisely means only this. In case of animals, this refers the external appearance of the organs or the parts of the body. The word anatomy conveniently is used for the study of morphology of internal organs and internal organs in the animals. You will learn the morphology and anatomy of the frog representing vertebrate. Frog. Frog can live both on land and in fresh water and belongs to class Amphibia of the phylum Chordata. The most common species of frog found in India is Rana tigrina. Rana is a genus and Tigrina is a species. They do not have constant body temperature, that is, their body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. Such animals are called cold-blooded or poikilotherms. You might have also noticed changes in the color of the frog while they are in the grasses and on the dry land. They have the ability to change the color to hide them from their enemies, camouflage. This protective coloration is called mimicry. You may also know that frogs are not seen during peak summers and winters. During this period, they take the shelter in deep burrows to protect them from extreme heat and cold. This is known as summer sleep, which is estivation, and winter sleep, which is hibernation, respectively. Morphology of the frog. Have you ever touched the skin of frog? The skin is smooth and slippery. Due to presence of mucus, the skin is always maintained in a moist condition. The color of the dorsal side of the body is generally olive green with dark irregular spots. On the ventral side, the skin is uniformly pale yellow. The frog never drinks water but absorbs it through the skin. Body of a frog is divisible into the head and the trunk. A neck and a tail are absent. Above the mouth, a pair of nostrils is present. Eyes are bulged out and covered by a nictitating membrane that protects them while in the water. On the either side of eyes, a membranous tympanum, that is ear, receives a sound signal. The forelimbs and hind limbs help in swimming, walking, leaping, burrowing. The hind limbs ends in a 5 digits and they are larger and muscular than forelimbs that end up in the 4 digit. Feet have webbed digits that help in swimming. Frog exhibits sexual dimorphism. Male frog can be distinguished by the presence of sound producing vocal sac and also a copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimb, which are absent in female frog. In figure 7.1, external feature of frog are shown. There is a head, there is a presence of eye with the nictitating membrane, and there is a presence of tympanum. There are 4 limbs in which 2 are forelimbs and 2 are hind limbs. Forelimbs have 4 digits and hind limbs have 5 digits. Forelimbs have a copulatory pad in the male frog, whereas absent in female frog. There is only head and trunk. There is no presence of tail and neck. But in the larva of the frog, that is in the tadpole, tail is present. That's why frog shown retrogressive evolution. Anatomy. The body cavity of the frogs accommodate different organ systems such as the digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, excretory, and the reproductive system with well-developed structures and functions. The digestive system consists of alimentary canal and the digestive gland. The alimentary canal is short because frogs are carnivores and hence the length of the intestine is reduced. The mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to esophagus through pharynx. Esophagus is a short tube that opens into the stomach, which in turn constitute as the intestine, rectum, and finally open outside by the cloaca. Liver secretes bile that is stored into the gallbladder. Pancreas, a digestive gland, produces pancreatic juice containing digestive enzyme. Food is captured by the bilobed tongue. Digestion of food takes place by the action of HCl and gastric juice secreted from the walls of the stomach. Partially digested food called chyme is passed from stomach to the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum. The duodenum receives the bile from the gallbladder and pancreatic juices from the pancreas through a common bile duct. Bile emulsifies fat and pancreatic juices digest carbohydrate and proteins. Final digestion takes place in the intestine. Digested food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of intestine called villi and microvilli. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passes out through cloaca. Frog respire on land and in water by the 2 different methods. In water, skin acts as aquatic respiratory organ, that is cutaneous respiration. Dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged through the skin by diffusion. On land, the buccal cavity, skin and lungs act as the respiratory organ. The respiration by lungs is called pulmonary respiration. The lungs are a pair of elongated pink colored sac-like structure present in the upper part of the trunk region, thorax. Air enters through the nostrils into the buccal cavity and then to lungs. During estivation and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. The vascular system of frog is well developed closed type. Frogs have a lymphatic system also. The blood vascular system involves heart, blood vessels and blood. The lymphatic system consists of lymph channels and lymph nodes. Heart is a muscular structure situated in the upper part of the body cavity. It has 3 chambers, 2 atria and 1 ventricle and is covered by a membrane called pericardium. A triangular structure called the sinus venosus joins the right atrium. It receives blood through the major venous called vena cava. The ventricle open into a sac like a conus arteriosus on the ventral side of the heart. The blood from the heart is carried to all parts of the body where by the arteries, that is arterial system. The veins collect blood from different parts of the body to the heart and form the venous system. Special venous connection between liver and intestine as well as the kidney and the lower part of the body are present in frogs. These former is called as hepatic portal system, and the later is called as the renal portal system. The blood is composed of plasma and cells. The blood cells are RBC, that is red blood cells, and erythrocyte WBC, that is white blood cells or leukocytes, and platelets RBC are nucleated and contain red colored pigment, namely hemoglobin. The lymph is different from the blood. It lacks few proteins and RBCs. The blood carries nutrient, gases, and water to the respective sites during the circulation. The circulation of blood is achieved by the pumping action of blood is achieved by the pumping action of the muscular heart. The elimination of the nitrogenous waste is carried out by a well-developed excretory system. The excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, ureter, cloaca, and urinary bladder. These are compact, dark, red bean-like structures situated in a little posterior in the body cavity, run and on the both sides of the vertebral column. Each kidney is composed of several structural and functional units called uriniferous tubules or nephron. Two ureter emerge from the kidneys in the male frog. The ureter act as a urinogenital duct which opens into the cloaca. In females, the ureters and oviduct open separately in the cloaca. The thin-walled urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum, which also opens in the cloaca. The frog excrete urea and thus is ureotelic animal. Excretory waste are carried by blood into the kidney where it is separated and excreted. The system for control and coordination is highly evolved in the frog. It includes both neural system and endocrine gland. The chemical coordination of various organs of the body is achieved by hormones which are secreted by the endocrine gland. The prominent endocrine gland found in the frog are pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid, thymus, pineal gland, pancreatic island, adrenals or gonads. The nervous system is organized into a central nervous system, that is brain and spinal cord, a peripheral nervous system, that is cranial and spinal nerves, and an autonomic nervous system, sympathetic or parasympathetic. There are 10 pair of cranial nerves arising from the brain. Brain is enclosed in a bony structure called brain box, that is cranium. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain includes olfactory lobes, paired cerebral hemisphere and unpaired diencephalon. The midbrain is characterized by a pair of optic lobes. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum and medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata passes out through the foramen magnum and continues into the spinal cord, which is enclosed in the vertebral column. Frog has a different type of sense organs, namely organs of touch, sensory papillae, taste buds, smell, nasal epithelium, vision, eyes, and hearing, tympanum with internal ears. Out of these, eyes and internal ears are well organized structures, and the rest are cellular aggregations around nerve endings. Eyes in a frog are a pair of spherical structures situated in the orbit in skull. There are simple eyes possessing only one unit. External ear is absent in frogs and only tympanum can be seen externally. The ear is an organ of hearing as well as balancing equilibrium. Frogs have a well organized male and female reproductive system. Male reproductive organ consists of a pair of yellowish ovoid testes which are found adhered to the upper part of kidney by a double fold of peritoneum called mesorchium. Vasa efferentia are 10 to 12 in number that arise from the testes. They enter the kidney on their side and open into the Bader's canal. Finally, it communicates with the urinogenital duct that come out of the kidney and opens into the cloaca. The cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass the fecal matter, urine, and sperms to the exterior. The female reproductive organs include a pair of ovaries. The ovaries are situated near kidneys and there is no functional connection with the kidney. A pair of oviduct arising from the ovaries opens into the cloaca separately. A mature female can lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time. Fertilization is external and take place in water. Development involves a larval stage called the tadpole. Tadpole undergoes metamorphosis to form the adult. Frogs are beneficial for mankind because they eat insects and protect the crop. Frogs maintain ecological balance because these serves as an important link of food chain and food web in the ecosystem. In some countries, the muscular leg of the frog are used as food by men. In the figure 7.2, diagrammatic representation of internal organs of frog showing complete digestive system. There is a esophagus, which is a short tube, and esophagus opens into the stomach. Frog has bilobed tongue through which it enters the food into the pharynx, and from the pharynx the food goes into the esophagus, which is a short tube, and from the esophagus it goes into the stomach. Then it goes into the intestine, which is a small intestine and large intestine. Into the intestine there are lot of juices are present. There is a bile juice from the gallbladder. Bile juice is formed by the liver, but it gets stored into the gallbladder, which is shown green color here. Liver are shown in the coffee color here. Then gallbladder emulsify the fat, and it also help in emulsification of fats and formation or concentration and in storage or concentration of bile juice. Bile juice always formed into the liver, but it always concentrate into the gallbladder. From there, from gallbladder, bile juice comes into the intestine. Into the intestine there is another juice also, that is from the pancreas, that is pancreatic juice, and also the intestinal juice, which all work over the food, and which is the partially digested food comes from the stomach, which is called as chyme. And now the undigested waste accumulate into the rectum, which is a sac like structure, and goes out through the cloacal aperture. Cloacal aperture is a common opening for the rectum for the solid waste, for the urinary waste, that is urine from the urinary bladder, and also for the genital for the genital thing, and that's why it is a common opening, that is cloacal aperture. Genital parts like sperm into the male frog and ova into the female, but cloacal aperture is common opening for 3 things into the male only, and it is common opening for 2 things in the female. For the genital things there is a separate opening in the female. Now there is another system, that is respiratory system. For respiration in frog there are 3 things. One is the skin, and that is known as cutaneous respiration. When the respiration takes place through the skin, it is cutaneous respiration. When the respiration takes place through the lungs, it is pulmonary respiration, and when the respiration takes through the buccopharyngeal chamber, it is known as buccopharyngeal respiration. For vascular system there is a heart, there is a blood system, there is a lymph system, there is renal system. For blood system there are arteries, there are veins, and there is a 3-chambered heart, which is also attached with some additional portion, that is conus arteriosus and sinus venosus. That is why heart pump the mixed blood into the frog, and that's why frog is a poikilotherms. It is a cold-blooded animal, and it shows hibernation, that is winter sleep, and estivation, that is summer sleep. Now there are lungs also, which are shown into the pink color, which helps into the pulmonary respiration when frogs are present on the land. That's why they are amphibians, because they can live they can live in water and as well as on the land. Now there are fat bodies present over the kidney, and these fat bodies are help into the storage of food material, which help during the production of heat, which help production of heat during the hibernation. Kidney are present into the pair, and blood comprises of RBC into the blood vascular system. Heart is 3-chambered, and additional chamber conus arteriosus and sinus venosus are present. Blood is formed of RBC, WBC and platelets. RBC and WBC. RBC are nucleated here, and WBC help again into the immune system. Now there is a lymphatic system, which is little bit different from the blood. blood lymphatic system for comprises of lymphatic ducts, lymph vessels, and they are whitish in color because there is no presence of RBC, there is presence of only WBC. Hepatic portal system is a portal system where one organ not directly going to give their blood into the heart. They are just meet with the another organ, and then they pump blood, and then they give their blood, which is deoxygenated blood, to the heart, and then heart directly pump it again into the body. That is hepatic, that is renal portal, that is portal system. And there are three different portal system into the frog, that is renal portal system, hepatic portal system, and hypophyseal portal system. Now from the now in the excretory organ there is a presence of a pair of kidney which is bean shape and covered with a capsule, and these kidney and the urine which is formed into the kidney are going into the cloacal chamber with the help of a pair of ureter, and this urine exit through the cloacal aperture. Now there is a urinary bladder which help into the storage of the urine into the frog. Now there is a male reproductive system and female reproductive system in figure 7.3 and 7.4. In the figure 7.3 there is presence of kidney, and there is presence of yellowish color testes over the kidney, and over the testes there are presence of fat bodies. As sperm is formed into the testes, these sperms are going out through the help of vasa efferentia, which is again 10 to 12 in number here, and the sperms from the vasa efferentia goes into the bidder canal, which is situated into the kidney, and from these bidder canals this sperm goes into a duct from where urine also comes out from the urinary bladder, that is they are considered as ureter. Now it carries urine as well as the sperm both, that's why it is considered as urinogenital duct in male, not in female, because in female ova comes out through oviduct and another tube, and urine comes out through ureter. That's why in the female there is no urinogenital duct, but into the male there is urinogenital duct. Now there is a sac like big aperture, which is a big sac like structure which is called as a rectum, where the solid waste are accumulated, and through the urinary bladder storage urine comes out, and all these things accumulate into the cloaca and goes outside through the cloacal aperture. As the breeding season comes out, the sperms comes out through the cloacal aperture into the water where the external fertilization occur. In female reproductive system, there are pair of ovaries, and these ovaries are situated near the kidney. There is no functional connection between the oviduct and the ovary. Into the ovary there is presence of ova. Around 2500-3000 ova are released at one time from the ovary of the female frog, and these oviduct lies in the periphery of the ovary. There is no functional connection between ovaries and oviduct. Now these oviduct capture the ova, and these ova comes out into the cloaca, and ureter separately collects the urine from the kidney, and over the kidney fat bodies are situated. Now these ova comes out through the cloacal aperture. Into the cloacal aperture there are three different openings for urine, that is ureter, and for the solid waste, that is the rectum, and there is ureter. There is oviduct which separately opens into the cloaca, and that's why all things comes out through the cloacal aperture where the external fertilization happens into the water. That's why frog shows external fertilization, and there is formation of a larva which is known as a tadpole larva, and it shows indirect development. Summary: cells, tissues, organ and organ system splits up the work in a way that ensure the survival of the body as a whole and exhibit a division of labor. A tissue is defined as a group of cells along with intercellular substances performing one or more functions in the body. Epithelia are sheet-like tissues lining the body surfaces and its cavities, ducts and tubes. Epithelia have one free surface facing a body fluid or the outside environment. Their cells are structurally and functionally connected at junctions. The Indian bullfrog Rana tigrina is a common frog found in India. Body is covered by skin. Mucous glands are present in the skin, which is highly vascularized. and helps in respiration in water and on land. Body is divisible into head and trunk. A muscular tongue is present, which is bilobed at the tip and is used in capturing the prey. The alimentary canal consists of esophagus, stomach, intestine, and rectum, which opens into the cloaca. The main digestive gland are liver and pancreas. It can respire in water through the skin and through lungs on the land. Circulatory system is closed with single circulation. RBCs are nucleated. Nervous system is organized into central, peripheral, and autonomic. The organs of urinogenital systems are kidney and urinogenital ducts, which open into the cloaca. The male reproductive organ is a pair of testes. The female reproductive organ is a pair of ovaries. A female lays 2500 to 3000 ova at a time. The fertilization and the development are external. The eggs hatch into tadpole, which metamorphs into frog. Thank you.